Unscripted.
I think everybody shouldn't be surprised that we're getting a ton of news from Sony themselves this week. I think I called this last week. I mean, I doubt I'll get credit for it. You know, I never get credit when I'm right. I only get harassed when I'm wrong, it turns out. So with that being said, Sony is making a lot of noise and they're making a lot of announcements and news, and it makes sense to do that. Let's just be honest. You have a console coming out in 2 weeks' time. You've got to do what you can to get people excited and happy about that, and I do hope that they're able to sort of get everybody a console who has pre-ordered and things like that. It's going to be a tough thing. You know, I think that obviously they have certain expectations of what they're going to be able to sell. It looks like they've at the very least been able to push through, you know, it's the initial stock or whatever. When we'll be able to get more, even Sony themselves say they probably won't have them in stores this year. So that's going to be a bit of bad news if you were looking to find one, and unfortunately you have to deliver that bad news. But there is a ton of good news as well, and I can't wait to get into it with you guys because, you know, there's always bright sides to everything, and this is some of the coolest stuff I've seen and some of the coolest stuff they've announced, and it really goes after what Microsoft is doing, right? Because I've been saying this for a long time. Sony and Microsoft aren't doing the same exact things, and they don't have the same ideas and the ideals and the end goals, but I do think that Sony is doing a lot of the things that Microsoft is doing. They just haven't promoted it in such a way that Microsoft does because Microsoft had no other choice. So this is one of those kind of instances, but this is really cool to see and a direct response, in my opinion, to what Microsoft is doing from Sony. What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. If you're looking for a way to help out a small measly channel like mine, what a disgustingly small, terrible channel, huh? Well, then a simple like goes a long way. Believe it or not, I put a lot of work into these videos and would appreciate it. Take a minute to consider subscribing. And shout out to all the old subscribers, new subscribers, and everybody in between. You're amazing people and well wanted and respected by me. Thank you so much. I tell you what, I'm even impressed with a lot of this stuff, and you know, I'm a huge fan, so everybody should know this. But again, Sony did a fantastic job with coming out there and making some big announcements. We know that Microsoft bought Bethesda Studios, and that brought a lot of people to the forefront saying things like, well, what does Sony have to do to match this? How can Sony match this? And again, I think I was pretty clear that said Sony doesn't really have to match it. They don't have to spend $7.5 billion on a huge studio or anything like that. You know, and now they've actually come out and commented on what their plans are. And their plans are very much Sony plans. I mean, doesn't look like they were impacted by what Microsoft did one bit. They're going to stay their course and kind of do their own thing. And I think that's very smart for them to do. When it comes to growing their first-party studios, I thought that they had a fantastic response to this. And again, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan revealed that they actually plan on growing its first-party efforts organically and not by merely reaching for its checkbook to snap up multiple companies, similar to what Microsoft has been doing the past few years. According to this interview, Ryan said that Sony will continue to organically grow first-party efforts by expanding some of its biggest outfits, such as Guerrilla Games, Sony Santa Monica Studio. Both of these companies are responsible for some of Sony's biggest successful franchises in Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War. In addition, Ryan conceded that Sony may also bolster our in-house capability with selective mergers and acquisitions, although for now it seems like the console maker is kind of keeping its checkbook out of the equation. Right now, obviously, Sony is very busy and planning to do things with the PlayStation 5 launch right around the corner. This is going to be some good news as well. So, again, you know, they mention a lot of stuff like this. So Sony really reported a huge jump in their quarterly profits, and the PS5 is expected to be the first next-generation device, you know, not to push the gaming division to an annual loss in its launch year, meaning they're probably making money on these things. And he also said Sony's built a network of in-house studios producing exclusive titles, including Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch, to fend off rivals including Microsoft, Xbox, and new entrants, many of which have struggled. He says, AAA game development is an incredibly complicated and difficult thing to do. Using an industry term for big-budget games, Sony had learned many lessons over the years and fed into securing the PS5 launch lineup. He says Sony plans to grow its studio capabilities organically, and it would be up to Sony to drive that engagement. He says, analyst questions how far the expansion in gaming driven by stuck-at-home consumers will continue longer term. He says, we're definitely looking upwards and thinking that we can do better than we thought we could. Industry insiders also warn of the impact of the pandemic on the development of games in their earlier stages. The initial concerns about the impact on the 2021-2022 roster were really legitimate, but are probably slightly assuaged now, Ryan said. Sony shares have gone up 47% from March, and et cetera, et cetera. So again, they're really just kind of solidifying that, hey, we could buy something like Bluepoint or whatever, but what we're going to do is continue to grow things organically as best we can. And they do things differently than Microsoft. Like, what this realistically means is They now have two teams at Guerrilla Games. They've got a couple teams at Sony Santa Monica. There's a couple teams at Naughty Dog. There's a new studio that they built. It's a terrible secret in San Diego that has a lot of ex-Naughty Dog rumors. They're working on the Uncharted game. They're doing things a certain way. I think they could buy something like Bluepoint or House Marquee. I think those make a lot of sense for them. But overall, they're just really nailing it with the way that they're making a lot of these announcements and stuff like this. And this wasn't the only thing. So again, when I talk about how these companies do different types of things, what I also talk about is a lot of times they do the same things, right? Like, but they do them in a way that maybe one is quieter than the other. One of those things is like the backwards compatibility stuff. Let's be real. Microsoft has the worst lineup I've ever seen for a major console launch in the history of gaming. Okay? That's why they're talking about backwards compatibility. If they had Halo and Forza and some other great big AAA games at launch, backwards compatibility would have been a footnote like it should be, like it is with Sony, right? But Sony also has this really key feature, and they've officially announced the games that are going to be there now. So the full PlayStation Plus collection revealed, which is PS4 games on PS5. Again, you might go, but CG, you say you don't play old games on a new console. Listen, some people will play older games on it, like some of them. Maybe you're new to the ecosystem and you want to play these games. I don't know. But it's a good footnote and good to see that this is added value. Am I going to go down and play all these games? No, I played most of them. But it is a good value proposition for people coming into the ecosystem. So now they've revealed the full PlayStation Plus collection, which is available on launch days. Okay, so here it is. You get from Sony Studios themselves: Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Infamous Second Son, Ratchet & Clank, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Until Dawn, Uncharted 4, Thief's End. Now from third-party publishers and developers: Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Zombie Chronicles Edition, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, Royal Edition, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. So they've done a fantastic job of going out there and sort of getting people excited about what's going on. And again, if your bag is old games, then they obviously have that for you, and you're going to have that option. And I feel like that's what it should be. It should be considered an option instead of like the whole entire reason to get something, right? Let's just be honest here. Sony has done a really good job at getting people excited for the future, but they're also doing stuff to preserve the past, which I think is super important going forward. And I just think that we shouldn't kind of look past that as a reason to really kind of be impressed by what they're doing. Like Sony seems to be doing a lot of the right things and a lot of things that people ask them to do. And at the same time, they're not taking it like lightly as well. And I feel like that's super important just kind of going forward is that they're kind of listening to what the fans want. And, even the announcement of the PlayStation Plus stuff, right? So they actually have PlayStation Plus. We know that Destruction All-Stars got moved to that. They also announced the November games for PlayStation Plus, and it's Bugsnax, which you might think, okay, whatever, but again, you're limited at launch, and that's a new game launching on PlayStation 5, so that's a PS5 console game only. It's a benefit not applicable for PS4, so you get that. I know lots of people were actually going to get it. It isn't really my bag, but it's something you can download for free if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Also, Shadow of War and Hollow Knight So I think, you know, they're doing good things. They're doing a lot of pro-consumer things. They're doing a lot of things to get people excited about the future. And I think the fact that they have such a strong lineup right out of the gate really kind of means a lot to a lot of people. I know for me personally, it means a lot. And I think that that, you know, it's going to be one of those things that sort of takes precedent when the PlayStation 5 is out there, you know, beating the forecasted projections and stuff like that in terms of what they're going to sell. I think that personally the PS5 has a real shot at outselling the PlayStation 2 as the all-time leader. I mean, how will that turn out long term? I don't really know. You know, it's just one of those things where time will tell. But I do honestly think that the PlayStation 5 has a fantastic shot at being everything that Sony thinks, and this is good for gaming, right? Like, even if you're an Xbox fan, if you're a console fan, you want these consoles to do well. Like, I that's why I'm so pissed at Microsoft, right? If they had games, like big AAA games, they have that chance to do extremely well, like relive the glory 360 days almost, right? But the fact that they failed to do that is disheartening, to say the least, and that's what I want people to realize. You know, it's really disheartening and unfortunate, but, you know, things can change, and I do hope that consoles sell well, keep pushing away that terrible future of streaming only that these companies want so badly. I want consoles to be around forever. I will link all of this stuff in the description so you can let me know. Thank you so much for spending time with me on another one of my videos. Please take a minute to consider subscribing, or at the very least liking. Take care of each other. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. Rack 'em up, my friends. Game on. Game on. Crap Gamer out.
Unscripted.